Last time we did this show, someone was asking Michael about his thoughts on Dylan Stevenson, and he's like, "Yeah, he was RPM'd at Miami, but he's like, I don't believe that." Then Chad Simmons decides to come off the top rope today,
Yeah.
drop a little nugget on that. So, folks wondering about Dylan Stevenson, what do you think has changed here recently, Michael? Or can you maybe talk a little bit more about what's made you feel good about him in Florida State all this whole time?
I don't think really much has changed. I think people are just picking up on it. I felt like if you do your research on this recruitment, that despite Miami, he's been to FSU like 6 or 7 times. It felt like FSU's recruiting the hardest. It felt like Coach JP was doing the best job recruiting him. They were on him the longest, and he feels a comfort and ease when he's at FSU. You see a comfort. You see a more relaxed guy where all the other visits is kind of like, hey, it's fun, it's exciting, but with FSU, it seems like almost like he's home, or he's much more relaxed and could be himself, as Dylan said to us when he visited FSU the last time. I think he's like, I can be myself and I can do what I want to do. Certainly, this is probably one of the top three defensive ends that they've wanted in this class. They've certainly made a push for him, and Columbus is not an easy school to get kids out of. It. A lot of kids from there go to Miami or other places. It's been a while since FSU's got a kid from Columbus, so it's certainly not easy, but certainly a guy they've coveted. Now there's probably a few other guys that I like a little higher on the board, like L.J. McCray, Cameron Franklin out of the Mississippi area. So, but this is the one that they've been very high on. They have not let up. They've made it clear this is guys a priority. I am not surprised because I told people after that FSU visit, I really felt like FSU was the team that was trending in the best direction, because I felt like there was a different body language or feeling when you listen to Dylan talk about FSU. It was much more relaxed, and to like, this is a place where I can just relax and be myself, and I have to see something or see this. I think when Dylan visits, he doesn't really have to see anything when it comes to FSU. I think it's just about being around people that the bond is there, and the bond is like real and genuine. And I think that's the big factor in this one, that from the start FSU's been real and genuine. Sure, they love the skill set, they love the things he can do, the way he can get after the pass rusher, but I think it's also I think if you read into the story we did on that day, he said, like, we need a defensive recruit. We have Luke, we have Cam on the offensive side. I mean, I don't usually take the we from a recruit that isn't committed, but I thought that was kind of interesting that he mentioned how they want a defensive guy to kind of lead the charge for the defensive class. So I think that was pretty fairly telling to me when he was doing that. It tells you certainly how highly interested he is, and then also I think the other thing is the amount of communication he has with the FSU recruits. A lot of FSU commits talk with him. I know Luke talks with him. I know a lot of these guys talk with him. So this isn't like something that I think just popped on the radar. Sure, it's the first RPM pick, but I think most of the FSU commits and recruits felt like this was a possibility, and this is one that they just had to stay on and keep it going. And certainly now they have all the momentum in this recruitment, and it looks pretty good so far.
Logan Falk wants he wants some guys to commit
Okay.
on the offensive line.
So do
Jason
I. It makes my
Zampella,
job easier. It makes my job easier, Logan, when they commit. So I think Zandamel is going to do it around July, from what I hear. I think he's got an official visit to FSU in June, and then I think he'll pop after that. Daniels, I think probably sometime. He told us he was going to push it to December, but I think he could also happen at any moment. So I think both of them could happen anytime. I think Zandamel is the one that I feel very confident that you'll get something in the summer as far as popping. But either way, I feel really good about FSU's chances for both of these guys.
what are the numbers at offensive line, do you think, Michael, in terms of what they want, what they're going to likely take?
Well, I think they want 2 centers, and then I think, they want probably like 4 in this class, and then because they brought in 3 more from the transfer portal. Um, Now they might want to leave some room for the portal, but I think 4 is kind of the number I've heard, as far as how many offensive line, maybe a tackle, and then 2 centers, and then an interior guy. So I think that's kind of where they sit on the kind of sit on them as far as what they're looking for in this class at offensive line.
So if anyone's wondering, you guys went this long without talking about Destin Hill, you wrong. Do we know? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Michael knows either. Well, we'll ask Michael. It's his show. Alan wants to know. Do you know what shape Destin Hill is in?
I've heard he's in good shape, and I asked somebody that would know, that have seen him recently, um, that know him, and know kind of his work ethic. He has been working, and now how good a shape. I mean, I didn't get into the specifics, but they just told me, yes, he's doing a lot of stuff. He's in shape. He's ready. He's excited. I've heard a lot of people differ around him say how excited he is. By the way, shout out to my main man, Sam Spiegelman. Nailed it, dude. He was on it from the start, and but I think Destin's ready to help them, and other. But I also think he also knows that he's coming in, that he has to settle in and get comfortable and adjust to and adapt to everything's going on. Talking about 2 years removed, so he hasn't been hit. He could be all the shape he wants to be, but until he starts getting reps and physicality and getting hit, we're really not, and how quick he can pick up things, we're really not going to know, even if he's in good shape, how much of a factor he's going to be for this upcoming season. But as Sam has pointed out, and it kind of shocked me when Sam said it on our show, he said, this is the most talented receiver I remember covering out of Louisiana, state of Louisiana. You think about all the players, receivers that are out of the state of Louisiana. That's a big boasting statement to make. So I do think he's immensely talented. So it's really going to depend on just what we see in the summer. Now, is it likely? I would say no. That's probably why they want a receiver from the portal, so they can bring Destin along the path they want him to, the speed they want to, not put too much pressure on him. But I know in Destin, I know he's going to want to play really quick. He's going to get on the field early, and I think he's a guy that, yeah, if everything clicks in the summer, he could have a kind of a stuff that we saw kind of out of Kentron Portier last year, or Portier last year, where you saw him flashing a little bit, and maybe best case scenario, that's probably I think what you see out of Hill, if he can get comfortable with everything.
What if you saw the name Chuck Lester on that list?
I might change my mind.
Logan wonders if you have any updates on Charles Lester.
Yeah, it still look good. I feel really good about my pick, Logan, with FSU. I think he's going through this recruiting process and the visits. Certainly visited Colorado and all these other places, but I feel good about FSU being the top school for him. I feel very good about their position. I think he's going to decide this summer. He's going to officially visit FSU last, and I like where they sit. I like how they're recruiting him. And two, the thing that a lot of people don't put into factor with these kids is, like, FSU's also looking for leaders. Like, it isn't just your skill set. Like they want guys that can lead in your locker room and or character, that fit everything of what this team is built on. And I think a lot of these guys all have that qualification. Cam has it. Certainly Luke has it. And a lot of these guys, they want a natural leader in that locker room to motivate each other, to hold everyone accountable every single day. So I think Charles has that special ability to do that. He's a great leader. And I think certainly if they were able to pull him, he's a guy that I would think would come in there early. And so I'm not going to say the starting word, but I think he would have a very strong impact as a freshman.
Let's get it, Mon. What's going on with linebackers and defensive tackle recruiting, Michael?
Needs to be better. That's what's going on. Certainly, everyone's seen the hot board, and somebody asked me yesterday, so I'm a man of my word. Yes, the defensive tackle hot board is up on Warchant. It's on our PRB. If you check the thread, we cover all the guys. DeAndre Robinson, Artavius Jones out of Bluntstown, and also Alex January, who also visited FSU, is going to officially visit. He's a 4-star defensive tackle. All those guys are the main guys in there. So those are the main focus. I think they're all going to officially visit FSU. I don't think anything's going to happen until they do the official visit. Yes, there's still some work to do with those. So I wanted to be a man of my word and tell you guys I would break it down. Those are the main guys. Now, as far as is linebacker, just has to be better. They need more top tier profile guys. You certainly need, you need a guy like the Patterson kid out of Miami, Saquon Patterson. That's certainly one you need. There's certainly several guys that they're after that, 4-star Edwin Spillman. That's going to be a tough pull away from Tennessee, but there's a lot of guys in there. So there's certainly work to do. And I definitely, you want to see an upstick of what you're seeing so far, but they're on it. And we'll see what Shannon could do. I love what they're doing with the linebackers when they're there. But yes, I agree that the defensive tackle and linebacker recruiting could use a nice little jolt as far as getting a top guy in this class for that position.
Man, I guess Matthew Thomas was a linebacker when he was recruited, right?
Yep.
Like, you got to go back to Matthew Thomas, and then I guess Eddie Goldman was like, what, he was 2012?
Yeah, I just think when you
been a
look
while
at
since, like, Florida State's got like one of those like 5-star absolute,
right.
You don't want to say can't miss because Matthew Thomas didn't maybe work out the best you could, but yeah, that just even some of these names that we're looking at are not necessarily like top 100 guys.
Right, and I think it's a valid question to ask too. It's a valid question to ask because when you look at all the other positions, tight end just got a 5-star guy in Landon Thomas. Running back, you got a top back in Cam. You obviously got a top quarterback. Receiver, Ron's killing it. He's got 3 dudes that are big time. Even last year, he got a 5-star. So this year's class, there's not a guy in there at linebacker or defensive tackle that you're like, hey, and especially with how FSU's performing. So they have to, they pick it up a little bit, but at the same time, we know what Odell can do, recruiting wise. So, they're going to get guys on campus. They're going to get somebody, and with Coach Shannon, I think it's just about staying true to the process, and certainly both of those positions need to be better, and that's the best way I can answer.